Um, we're clearly having a discussion about the justice system and FREEMAN, and um, it's just not a system that can ever tell right from wrong. And I live by the concept: don't ever make a complaint unless you offer a solution, which I've offered a solution in another video. You'll have to check it out. But I watched this one show. Don't watch cable TV. I just watch online. So I'll put a link to this 2020 show that was done. And basically, it's about, a couple of teenagers, girlfriend, boyfriend, were texting. And this one girl was texting while she was driving. Kind of against the law right there. She's guilty right away. Um, and they were breaking up through the text, and she says, I'm going to kill myself and wreck my car because I'm a bad person. And seconds later, she crashes her car into another. She goes out of her lane into an oncoming car and kills a woman and a child, and she was pregnant at the same time. So technically, she killed 3 people. And um, so that totally destroyed a family's life. And the girl that was driving lived, and she was charged with murder. Forget the exact charge, but it was deliberate murder, basically. And the parents ended up suing the father, the husband that lost his family. He's now being sued by the parents of the girl that killed these kids for distress, for emotional distress. And so, where is the justice in that? I mean, she was found guilty, and in the court case, like, you can prove everything to be right or wrong. That they had a clear cut case of this girl was definitely guilty. But then, her lawyers, her $1 million lawyers, the FREEMAN, the O.J. Simpson dream team, was saying that it was actually the accident took place in the wrong lane, that the other girl was guilty of the own accident. Then they tried to blame it on the construction that was on the road. They were pulling at straws to come up with another scenario of a possibility. And who are the guilty ones? In the trial, they also brought out a lot of texts that this girl had written over time, because they wanted to prove that she was a really nice girl and would never kill anybody, and she was never depressed. Meanwhile, she's texting about she basically hates her life because her parents hate each other and they don't want to get divorced because of her. They want to stay together because of her, but the household is basically totally miserable. So the child definitely is not very happy to begin with, so she was definitely depressed. They had a psychologist there that says, kids say they're going to kill themselves all the time. Doesn't mean they mean it. So there was actually a psychologist on there that says, no, she was just talking out of her mouth. She never really meant it. That's sort of like a psychologist saying, oh, when somebody was threatening to kill themselves and they actually killed themselves, they really didn't mean to kill themselves. It's like, there you go, right away. Get an expert, a psychologist, to shoot you a pile of bullshit. But where's the justice in all of that? Who were the ones that were actually guilty? Well, and at the end of this, when they were trying to sentence the girl, the father that lost his family said, you know what, all I really want to hear is that you're actually sorry for what you did. The girl refused to say that she was sorry for anything. She's the only thing she could say that she was sorry for is sorry your family's dead, but not sorry that she killed them. So who are the guilty parties? The parents of this child. The parents clearly never hold themselves responsible or accountable. So if they never ever see their actions to be responsible and accountable, do you think they taught their daughter how to be responsible and accountable for their actions? No. So who should be in jail? The people that influenced and trained a girl to be a killer. Like, if we really want to look at the causes that create Let's look at the parents. The parents definitely taught that child how not to be responsible or accountable for her actions, but yet they'll never ever be on trial. Yet they are in our world influencing everybody not to be responsible or accountable for anything you do in your society. Um, but these guilty people will never ever see or ever be charged for the crimes that they're committing. And um, on top of it, there is no healing. You can put somebody in jail for, she got 7 years, but when she comes out, she's still not going to be responsible or accountable. She's still not going to see that she did anything right or wrong. You just have now taxpayers that are going to give this girl free food, free rent, a place for her to manifest even more angry because she feels that she's in there for no reason. So that anger, she's going to come out and be a bigger terror on society. But you want it because you think you need to put people in jail. I think the girl is mentally ill, as is her parents. It's a mental illness not to be responsible and accountable for your own actions. And at the end of the day, what definitely created that reality, for a girl to say, I want to kill myself and I'm going to destroy my car, just those words, just saying those words have the power to create. So you're guilty the second you even say something like that. So I mean, pre-crime, yeah, as soon as you think of doing harm to somebody, it has the power to create. And you don't know how particles are moving. Just as you don't know, you think natural disasters are all Mother Nature. No, every natural disaster has a human footprint. The way we live in our environment definitely has an impact on how earthquakes are created, how volcanoes, how superstorms. All of this is man-made, and we are not recognizing our human footprint, our cause and effect. We live in a causal world. Everything has a cause. But we are blind to that. We live in too much of our now. That you're not seeing past your now moment to see what else did I do. So there's a downside to living in your now. If you're living so much in your now, you won't see what you're doing in your future. You won't be able to see how you create your future. So it is really, really good advice on if you're going to live in your now, which is good advice, but in that now, be very, very careful what you think about, because what you think about has the power to create. I have said since I was a child, the strongest form of energy is thought. What you think about creates reality. And you can sit there. I have every single thing, every miracle that I've ever created, I just sat there and thought about it. I didn't have to do any work. And just sitting there thinking about it, one time I had $5,000 deposited into my bank account that I can't prove who did it, and I know, tracing back to it, it came from somebody in the Middle East. Now, I could probably find out who it was in the Middle East, but I wasn't about to pay that much in phone calls to find out who it was. But I know somebody in the Middle East deposited $5,000 into my bank account right at the time where I was saying, I know there's going to be enough money in there to look after my family. And I didn't even look at my bank account until the time I absolutely needed money. And I thought, I'll see if some money was in my bank account. To my surprise, $5,000 was deposited into my bank account. I got a house. I didn't do anything except for just tell people I'm buying a house. I didn't have any money, nothing. Somebody came to me and told me they had a house to dump. I had an airbrush that broke. And I said, God's mailed me an airbrush. And poof, within 2 weeks, an airbrush was mailed to me. I didn't do any work. Thoughts matter. And your thoughts, basically even deeper, your beliefs matter. What you believe to be true is when you create. When you really believe something, that's when it will manifest. So this girl, you don't even have to question. This girl really truly wanted to kill herself, really truly had zero interest in who else it affected. Why? Because she got into an accident. right seconds after she said she was going to kill herself. And she'll never see that. She'll never see how she created it because her parents taught her you never have to be responsible or accountable for your actions. I think that family is mentally ill, and don't. I personally, the worst possible thing that you could do for my community, if these people lived in my community, is put them in jail. You know, they're mentally ill. They need healing. They need to understand cause and effect and karma. That what they put out in the world is going to come back at them. They suffer from their own karma. So until we learn those lessons, it's going to be a little frustrating. It's going to be a rough ride. But me saying it's going to be a rough ride creates the rough ride. But if you look at it as this is going to be the best time of our lives. You know, this is the time where we're all going to start to love each other a lot more. This is going to be a time where we all learn how to be responsible and accountable, and create the perfect lives for me and for everybody else. That thought has, you know, and I truly believe it. I didn't really believe it before I started this YouTube channel. That was the reason why I'm starting this YouTube channel, because I'm seeing what I put out there, seeing the words I put out there, and sometimes I do put negative shit out there, and it does have the power to create. And there's a lot of people hate me, so it doesn't even take much. Just the smallest little bit of negativity that I put out there, guess what? It has the power to create. I have to own that, and I do own that. By saying I'm not perfect yet, I'm working on it. Have some patience, have some love for me. And throwing more hate at me while I'm hypersensitive just gets me more hateful. So it is like, that is something being hypersensitive, first of all, I will never, ever, ever tell anybody, toughen up, don't be so sensitive. Because being sensitive means you can tell the difference between right and wrong real fast. And it also means that you're more susceptible to be influenced. So that means that if somebody throws hate at me, you know, it's like if you call somebody stupid long enough, they'll turn into stupid. So if somebody calls me, you know, the social welfare, I'm the, you know, social economic problem of everybody, it's like I can turn into that just by people saying that to me. And the fact that I'm on a welfare system means that I'm turning into everything you're saying. I need to fight and be stronger than that. I need to believe in myself more than society believes in me. I'm sensitive to it, but I have to be stronger than that so I don't turn into that. And the second I start believing in myself, the second that I can jump into being absolutely positive at all times, guess what? A new career will just pop up magically. I also have this thing that I don't want massive wealth. So because I don't want that, I'm not attracting it. Kind of scared of being a leader, so I'm not going to attract that. So I kind of have to be at one with, you know, being that motivational speaker. It's like, can you not see that if I was positive and sending my message and how, you know, trying to help others to be loving and, you know, create a better world, that would lead me to be somewhat of a motivational speaker? And I'm scared to death of being a motivational speaker. Why? Because that's all I've listened to were motivational speakers, and they were all bullshit. So probably have to get over that one. Don't want to be a leader. That scares the shit out of me, so I won't create a job until that happens. Anyways, getting long. Peace out.